Um, I believe today we will be winding on what we've been sharing this couple of Sundays. And I hope you can discern that it's not just a presentation, but it's a presentation with a cry. It's a presentation with a conviction. And I believe soon we'll be hearing testimonies out of such presentation that has been taking place here. I thought I'd hear a better clap than that. God doesn't have one way of meeting your need. It will not always be through the hand of the man of God or through a supernatural intervention. Sometimes it's knowledge, because we are perishing in other areas because of lack of that particular knowledge. So let's put our hands together even as we invite Doctor to finish off today. Come on, let's put our hands together for Doctor. Sorry, it's Dr. Neema Galen Mwakyusa. So,
good morning, church. Thank you so much, Baba and Mama, for this opportunity. It's great to stand before you again this morning. Today, I'm going to take you through the topic of detoxification. So we looked at the immune system. We appreciated our powerhouse. We looked at the most important aspect that influences the immune system, which is the nutrition, last Sunday. And today we're going to look at detoxification. So first of all, what is detoxification? So detoxification is a natural process of the body that it cleanses itself. So it neutralizes toxins and eliminates these toxins. It's something that we are naturally born with. It doesn't need an external influence to be initiated. It's something that the body does naturally from beginning. So you can imagine it as a cleaning mechanism of the body and the way the body deals with toxins. So detoxification is mainly done by various organs, the kidney, the liver, the lungs, and the gut. But the major organ that is involved in this process of detoxification is the liver. And why we say the liver is the major organ in detoxification, if you may project the picture. So this is a picture that demonstrates what happens when we have toxins. So usually they're in a fat-soluble form. And once they enter the liver, it takes these toxins into a non-toxic form through the various processes that have been mentioned. You don't have to remember all of that, but it all happens in the liver. So it's divided into three phases: phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 is the elimination stage. So the toxins enter the liver, it converts them into the non-toxic form, and in the phase 2 aspect, it converts it into a water-soluble form, Why a water-soluble form? Because that's the easy form of which it can be eliminated. And the elimination can happen in the urine, in the bile, and in the stool. So the major processes of detoxifications happen is in the liver, and that's why we say the liver is the major organ in detoxification. So elimination processes, as demonstrated there, it can be through the gut, the digestive system, whereby one defecates the waste products. It can also be through the renal system. This is the kidney, whereby one urinates the waste products. But it can also be through the lungs when you breathe out the waste products, like in the form of carbon dioxide. And also it can also be through the skin, whereby one sweats out the waste products. So 3 phases of detoxification happening in the liver, the 2 phases, and then through the various systems, the elimination process takes place. So how do these toxins access our bodies? So there are 2 different kinds of toxins. We have internal toxins and external toxins. So even if we are living in maybe a sterile environment, if we were to say, but we would still have toxins because the body processes that happen that take place in our bodies, they also release toxins. So that's why there's an innate mechanism to take care of these toxins. So the internal toxins can be in the form of urea, carbon dioxide, from the process of breathing or from the process of the kidneys. But the external toxins, as shown in the slides, that we can ingest these toxins. In the previous lecture, we had spoken of how food can be contaminated or how the food is packaged. And chemicals are used that can be seen as toxins to our bodies. So we can be ingesting these toxins, but as well, we can be inhaling these toxins. In an industrial environment that we are in, there's a lot of air pollution. So we are breathing in a lot of toxins. But also, these toxins can be absorbed through the skin. The cosmetics that we apply may be having some toxins as well. But also the household materials that we use, the sprays, the pesticides or insecticides in farming, all these kind of materials that have chemicals which can be perceived as toxins in our bodies. So all of these are the pathways in which the toxins can access our bodies. So we say that the body comes with an innate or a natural detoxification mechanism. Why do we need to support the whole aspect of detoxification or optimize the detoxification process if the body can do it itself? So the rationale behind this is that we are now in an era whereby there's an increased level of toxins. So from the various sources that I mentioned, the foods now are full of toxins, the environment is full of toxins, so there's a higher levels of toxins of which now it overwhelms the body. The body mechanism cannot cater for that, for all these toxins. So there's a need for our own efforts to empower the body now to cater for this increased demand. But apart from that, we need to optimize the detoxification process or support the body to do this detoxification because our organs are not in that perfect state of which it was created in. As we saw in our previous lectures, the food that we take damage the cells of our bodies. So all those organs that I mentioned, the lungs, the kidney, the liver, they're not in that perfect state of which it can perform this function. So they need to be supported in order to perform the detoxification. So because of those 2 reasons, you find that now these toxins accumulate in our bodies because now the body is overwhelmed. It cannot handle all the toxins that are coming in. So toxins end up accumulating, and because they're in the form of which they're fat soluble, most of them are stored in fat tissues or in bones. So this is the way that these toxins are stored to be in a long term. Otherwise, they will be in an active state of which it brings diseases. So, what are the signals that one needs a detox? Now that we have understood that detoxification is a cleansing mechanism or a process where our body neutralizes the toxins and eliminates them. So how do we know that one needs a detox? The first reason is digestive issues. So when you see you are mostly suffering from bloating, constipations, diarrhea, all these kinds of digestive issues, that can be a sign that you need a detox, that your body is overwhelmed and needs a cleaning up. But also skin problems can be an indication, things like acne or rashes, or persistent sugar cravings, unexplained headaches, low back pain, fatigue or low energy. Some people just sleep, but yet they don't feel that they've rested. That means that your body is so much overwhelmed. Inability to lose weight. There are actually studies that have shown that people who struggle with weight loss, sometimes it's because they have so much toxins stored in their fat tissues. So it brings that difficulty in losing weight. Another sign that the body might need a detox can be inability to focus or think clearly, like a brain fog, we say. Other things can be a general body pain or a compromised resistance to infections. So you find an individual is always having maybe flus or bacterial infections, UTIs. So all of this shows that the body is not at its best state and may need detox. So these are just a few signs to show that the body might need a detox. But even without all these signs, as I said, we still need to optimize the detoxification system because the body naturally produces these toxins even in the body processes, but also because we live in a toxic environment. So even without any signs, we still need to optimize or support the body to carry out the detoxification. So now, what are the factors that enhance this optimal detoxification? What are the things that influence the detoxification system? The number one thing is food. We go back to our last Sunday's lecture. Still, food is a very important aspect in every system of our bodies. So even in our detoxification systems, food plays a major role. And this is because the food that we eat can be a source of antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, which are used in the various now phases that I had showed in the liver detoxification processes. So those processes have things like enzymes which depend on these nutrients to carry out the detoxification process effectively. But also the food that we eat can be a source of prebiotics. Prebiotics are the kinds of food that feed the good bacteria that are lining our gut. So when the good bacteria are well fed and in a good balance in our digestive system, then the digestive system can carry out the detoxification process effectively. But apart from that, the foods that we eat are also a source of cell repair and cell replacement. So these vitamins and minerals and antioxidants ensure that our cells are able to repair itself when now they're damaged or any kind of injury happens, or if there's a need for replacement, then the organs or the cells can do so effectively. So food is really important in this. So the examples of the foods that are needed for provision of these antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals are, first of all, the cruciferous vegetables. So actually, just plants as a whole, you can say, they are the major contributor of these phytonutrients, which are the nutrients that are needed for cell repair and cell regeneration. They're the ones which are the main sources of the antioxidants, the vitamins and minerals. So you can say, but doctor, I know the meats, the milk, and other products also have these things. So now we are talking of a cleaning system that the body has to undergo. So if you are doing a household cleaning, you need like the very best of the utensils, which will ensure only cleaning happens. You don't want to bring in utensils that or equipments that will help in the cleaning, but also release some dirt. So we are looking at the foods that will ensure proper detoxification without causing any other collateral damage. As we saw from the previous lecture, the meats, the dairies, the eggs, they are so much inflammatory. So it won't make the detoxification mechanism efficient if we bring in the inflammation. So inflammation, you can also imagine it as a fire, and now you need water to quench that fire. So the best water that you can get is actually now these sources of vitamins, antioxidants, and minerals from the plants. But if you bring in something like maybe petrol, that would be like now the meats to come and quench the fire, it will actually just enhance it because it has some negative effects as well. So that's the role of food in detoxification. But another factor that influences detoxification is water. Water is very important because, as you know, 60% or even more of your body is made up of water. Organs in your body, like the joints, they depend on the water to maintain their integrity. Body processes, they rely on this water to be done efficiently. So even the detoxification process relies on water to be done efficiently. So on average, an individual needs about 3 liters per day. This is just an average, but it may vary depending on the gender. Men tend to need more water than females. It may vary depending on the activities. So someone who's so active will need more water than someone who has a sedentary lifestyle. But also it may vary due to the environment. So a hot climate may require one to drink more water because they are losing it through the sweat, and it's easy to be dehydrated. So that's just an average. It has to be individualized. But also there are people with certain diseases that cause for them to drink a minimum amount of water and not so much water. So water also enhances the clearance system. So as we see, the urine that carries out the waste from the kidneys, it's in the form of water. The stools, they go to the large intestines, and they have to absorb water in order to pass through the gut easily. But also the sweat that comes out is in the form of water. So all these means of elimination of these toxins from our body also relies on water. The third aspect that enhances or supports the detoxification system is exercise. So recommendation-wise, on average, 30 minutes of exercise at least 3 times a day. But as I said before, exercise should be individualized because we are all different. So exercise improves digestion. It also increases blood flow to body organs. So if there's more blood flow, it means the body organs are nourished and they can be able to do the detox process easily. But also, exercise enhances the process of breathing. As you notice, when you exercise, you breathe more rapidly. So it means you release the carbon dioxide more you have an increased release of the carbon dioxide through the breathing system. But also exercise forces one to sweat, so you get to release the toxins from the sweat. But also it enhances water intake because you feel dehydrated and the demand for water is increased, and the water becomes available to excrete these toxins through the urine or the stool. The next aspect is sleep. So during sleep, this is an opportunity for the body to recharge itself. It's like a resting hour that the body reorganizes itself. And this is also where now the body gets rid of the toxins that were accumulated during the day. So a good night's sleep enhances the detoxification process. So the recommended hours of sleep as shown there. Children, of course, they need more hours of sleep, but as one grows, the hours decrease. So for an adult, on average, about 7 hours of sleep is sufficient. So now I'll take you through the various methods of which we can do detoxification. I've put it as detoxification protocols. So there are many ways that have been advertised and are continuing to be advertised, but they all center through these 2 aspects. Media team, if you can help me with the video.
They are in our food, air, and water. As toxins make their way into our cells, our bodies eliminate them through a 3-phase detoxification process. For effective detox, all 3 phases must work simultaneously. Proper whole food nutrition helps ensure that each phase is supported and that your overall detox system is balanced and efficient. In phase 1, called activation, phase 1 enzymes add a reactive site to the toxin. Specific whole food phytonutrients from foods like Spanish black radish and cruciferous vegetables, along with enzymes like myrosinase to activate these phytonutrients, help initiate phase 1 and produce adequate levels of phase 1 enzymes. The activated toxins from phase 1 are usually more toxic than the originals, so it's crucial that phase 2, called neutralization, be happening simultaneously. During phase 2, the activated toxins are conjugated with compounds that make them less toxic and more water-soluble. Amino acids such as glycine, specific antioxidants such as glutathione, and energetics such as creatine help ensure effective neutralization. In phase 3, called elimination, the toxins are excreted mainly through urine or feces. This phase requires fiber, alkalizing compounds like whole food-based magnesium, and plenty of water. Whole food nutrition helps ensure that each detoxification phase is properly activated and that the overall system is supported and balanced. Whether during a detox program or daily life, support effective detoxification and optimal health with whole food nutrition.
So that just shows the role of whole food, plant-based nutrition in the whole aspect of detoxification. So here they speak of doing the detoxification as a lifestyle. So just developing a lifestyle that will ensure that you enhance the detoxification system, but also there's now the protocol or the program, detoxification programs that you can exercise in a different kinds of time frames. So the first way of detoxing is through the food. So detoxification with foods. This involves a dedicated time frame. It can be a week, it can be 3 weeks, as per the individual's choice or as per the individual's needs. So in this time frame, one chooses to strictly nourish the body with the foods that will provide the necessary nutrients or support to the body for the effective detoxification. So it's like a cleansing period that you take your body through. And for this to be done effectively, it's advised that before you venture into this dedicated time of detoxification, it's good if it's preceded by a time frame of decreasing the amounts of the unhealthy foods. Because now most of us have that lifestyle of eating unhealthy foods. It will be a shock to the body for just one day you stop eating the unhealthy foods and introduce these healthy foods that the body is not used to. So it's good if this protocol is done in a way that you start slowly introducing the body to the good foods and eventually tapering down the unhealthy foods. And then that's when you start counting now your either 7 days, 14 days, or 21 days of the strict detoxification. So this is like a precaution to ensure that your body doesn't now suffer from the whole aspect of detoxification instead of benefiting from it. And the best way to do it is just to increase now the vegetables, the fruits, and also decreasing the meats, the dairies, and the eggs in the process. So the best way of doing this detoxification is through foods such as smoothies, juices, and fruits. Smoothies are the best because it's like the easiest way of taking in raw green vegetables. The green smoothie itself. It's so hard to eat a sufficient amount of green vegetables from a bowl because of the culture most of us have grown in. Usually we are accustomed to just a small portion of greens, and most of the greens are usually in a cooked form. So when they're in the cooked form, most of the nutrients, they're lost. So we don't really benefit from the cooked form of the veggies. So the smoothies provide a better way of being able to take in these the green vegetables in the raw form. It's like giving someone medication, but coating that medication with sugar so that it can easily be taken in. So with the green smoothies, you mix it with a lot of variety of fruits, which gives it a different flavor and it enables an individual to ingest it. So another way is juicing. The main challenge with juicing is that it takes away the fiber that is in the fruit itself. So with the smoothies, the whole component of the veggies or the fruits, they're in the smoothie itself. But with the juicing, there's some aspects of the fruits that is lost. That's the fiber. But we have seen in the video that the elimination process needs a lot of fiber in order to push out the toxins, especially in the digestive system. So the juicing, the main challenge is there, is the loss of the fiber. So smoothies would be the best. Or if it's not smoothies, if you're an individual who can take in big bowls of greens or salads, then that can also be done. So with this detoxification protocol, you still have to complement it with the other factors that I mentioned, the water, the exercise, the good sleep, so that to cover all aspects. Because if you just do one thing and compromise the other, then the whole detoxification process may not be as effective. Water is really important in the detoxification program because it ensures that you do not get most of the side effects that people encounter as these toxins are being excreted. So that's just an example of the smoothies that one can be taking. So the green smoothie can be a daily delicacy, but throughout the day you can also mix with the variety of smoothies that you prefer as per the fruits that maybe you like, or the fruits like beetroots or carrots, which are full of antioxidants as well. Other ways could be the salads. It can also be a tea in the morning that is full of antioxidants. spices like turmeric are good antioxidants. It can be the fruits or the vegetables. But just a precaution again, the vegetables when they're in a cooked form, there shouldn't be any added oil or any added salt, and they should just be steamed mildly because you don't want to kill the nutrients in them. So the rationale for doing this food detox, why transition to these vegetables and fruits? We can see it from the food digestion speed. So this is a good animation that has shown how our bodies, so this is just the stomach, how our bodies process or digests the foods that we eat. So you see the fruits, the raw greens, they take very little time, like up to 30 minutes to go through our system. That's just the stomach. Remember, after the stomach, there's the small intestines, there's the large intestines, and the rectum before it goes out through the exit. So just through the stomach to exit, water 0 to 10 minutes, the juices up to 30 minutes, the fruits 1 hour. So the foods that we have been speaking of at maximum 2 hours, or most of them will just be within 1 hour, they're able to be digested. So in this way, your digestive system can easily be cleaned up. But going down, there's the grains and other dense vegetables. You see that now when you go down, the hours increase. And the meats, you'll find that they take longer hours to be digested. If you can project the next one with the proteins, you'll see that some meats, like pork, would take up to 5 hours to be digested, just in the stomach to exit. But now, imagine this is from the stomach, then there's the other parts to exit. It actually takes a long time. And most of us, you find that we take these meats or the dairy more than once in a day and maybe every day in a week. So it means these foods just pile up in our digestive systems and they never get a chance to be fully cleared up. And these time frames here, they're just for those like a perfectly healthy digestive system. But most of us have inflamed guts because of the foods that we eat. So with an inflamed gut, you find that these times are even longer. So you can imagine the roadblock that is happening in our digestive system. So we don't really fully cleanse or clear the waste from the digestive system. I like this animation because it just shows how much impairment happens with different kinds of foods. So with this knowledge, you can see that actually our gut cleansing processes are probably never done. And now imagine with people now who have constipation or bloating and all of that. So it's even a worse projection of what is happening in our gut. So food detoxification process is an important aspect to ensure that now we deal with these long-term stored wastes and ensure that now our gut is restored to that effective status of elimination of waste and digesting food as a whole. So another way of detoxification is through fasting. And the best way is the water fasting. This is like now taking an elevator instead of taking stairs. So in water fasting, one does not take any food or juices or smoothies, but only takes water, as the word water fasting says. But this kind of fasting, if it's not done under medical supervision, it can only be done up to 72 hours. It's advised as per the protocols or recommendation is that it should be done up to 72 hours because of the side effects that can happen when someone prolongs the fast beyond the 72 hours. But to engage in this fast, there should be preparation involved. And the preparation now is starting to bombarding the body with these green vegetables and fruits in order now to help the body eliminate these wastes in the gut, which you have seen now, they usually accumulate because of the foods that we take. So it needs a long-term preparation before actually starting the fast. And so this is the most efficient process in elimination of long-term wastes, like food and excess mucus, and it accelerates the overall detoxification process. So again, water fasting, if it is to be done in a prolonged period, it should be done under medical supervision. So what are the benefits of detoxification? Now that we have seen that we can do our detox through the food program and through the water fasting, there are various benefits of detoxification. It enhances proper functioning of the organs. It ensures proper digestive health. It boosts our immunity, enhances weight loss, as we saw that toxins, when they accumulate in the fats, they make it difficult for one to lose weight. But also it boosts our energy levels, improves our moods, ensures that we think clearly, improves our skin health, and it also, some researchers have shown that actually detoxing slows down the aging process. So it's the body wears down fast when it's just being used up and full of toxins. But when it's cleaned up, it kind of rejuvenates the body and delays the aging process. So even though detoxification brings all these benefits and it's good for our body, there are side effects that one can encounter during the detoxification process. So this is because now the wastes are coming out, and also you have subjected the body to a process that it's not really used to. Even though detoxification is actually meant to be like a lifestyle of continually empowering the body to undergo the detoxification through the nourishment that we give it. But because it's not really a lifestyle, and then it just becomes a time frame of doing this, individuals face such side effects like the headaches, the nausea and vomiting. One may start having unusual cravings for junk foods in the detoxification process itself. But others may also have diarrhea or constipation. So the digestive system just starts crying out, like, I'm not used to this much greens. What is happening? So one can have the diarrhea and constipation. Others may even have difficulty in sleeping or have a strong body smell because of all these toxins that are coming out, or have excessive sweating as well. So the main thing is that these symptoms are not supposed to be so severe or so persistent. So if it happens that they're persistent and so severe that it compromises your health, then you need to seek medical attention. So that just shows the various side effects that can be encountered. But also of note is that it's important and it's also wise that before an individual engages into a detoxification plan, it's good to get the advice or the counsel of medical professionals so that they can analyze you, they can assess you as an individual and see what is the best detoxification protocol and what could be the things that may be needed to be altered as per your body needs. So this is very important as well. With that, I hope we have understood the whole aspect of detoxification, why it's important for our bodies, and I hope this is something that we'll embrace and practice. Thank you so much for listening. At this moment, I'd like to welcome the moderator for the question and answer session.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Guys, can we do a little bit better as we celebrate what she's shared with us? Oh, come on. Is it that hard to process? Let's just... Awesome. We're going to be going into our usual Q&A session. But before that, actually just by quick show of hands, how many of you do have questions? Are there any questions? We have one question right up at the front. Awesome. No questions? Okay, there's a question over there as well. Cool, so just go ahead, keep your hand up. We'll come to you. But before we go to the Q&A, are we still good? Is everybody happy? Awesome. I wanted to cover a couple of quick points that need to be clarified before we proceed. Is that okay with you? Awesome. So, first of all, it's very important to understand, and please, if your neighbor is on their phone, distracted, disconnected, just nudge them for me. I need to have all of you with me right now. So it's very important for us to note that the material we are covering here, it constitutes general information. And it's information that maybe we did not have access to before this, or we did not know about. However, it is not specific guidance to you to do something right now. And so before you act on any of this information or go into doing anything particularly unusual for you, please make sure that you do seek some specific advice and guidance. Talk to a medical professional. Do you understand what I'm saying? So 2 specific caveats on this. If you are going to be adopting a new diet, it is very key to get consultation before you do so. Some of us, I think you are really inspired and motivated by the power plate. Just to put a context to it, okay? It's not just stop eating meat, fish, and eggs, period. And dairy. That's it. I'm done with those for the rest of my life. The fact of the matter is, you do get some nutrients out of those things. So if you're going to stop them, you need somebody to be able to guide you on how you replace them, what quantities. It's not just enough to say, doctor said leafy vegetables have protein, so I'm not eating meat anymore. I'm going to have 1 stick of celery. It might not work out that well. Is that clear? Is that clear? Guys, are you still with me? Is your neighbor still with me? It is very important. Number 2, actually, I think I've covered both. So you need to know how to replace your foods. You also need to know the right quantities and how to balance as you approach that new lifestyle. The second thing I want to say, I need to make sure you're paying attention. Repeat after me. This does not constitute medical advice. I think I heard about 20% of you. I want to hear everybody repeat this. This does not constitute medical advice. So please, do not take any medical decisions on this without getting a proper, formal consultation from your doctor. That means do not stop taking your medication if you have been prescribed medication. Do not tell anybody else to stop using medication that they have been prescribed. You need to make sure that you have talked to a doctor and made it clear what you're doing and gotten medical advice before doing anything like that. Understood? Is that clear? Number 3, and this is kind of housekeeping. The doctors we have in our midst are medical professionals. This means medical consultation is their profession. It is a service that they provide for payment. Please Do not take advantage of them just because they are doctors in church to get all your free medical consultation here. If I was a painter, would you ask me to come and paint your house for free just because we go to church together? Just because the service they provide is more of a consultative service does not mean it is any less right for them to be paid for what they do. Is that clear? Is that clear? Additionally, on the same point though, when you go to the hospital to meet a doctor, you go through tests first. By the time you meet the doctor, there is medical information they have about you as they listen to you. You don't have that facility here. So please don't corner a doctor, tell them your medical history, ask them for medical advice, and then run with that as if it's the same as seeing a doctor. They are more than happy to tell you where they practice and the hours that they operate and the rates that you will pay. Please go through that process, but let's make sure we're not taking advantage of our doctors. Is that okay? Is that clear? Are we happy? Can we celebrate the doctors we have in our midst? They're amazing people. Great. Now, finally, we're going to go into the Q&A. I'd like to ask that you keep your questions in line with the topics covered. If you're paying attention, the key place we began here was talking about immunity. When we talked about your nutrition, it was in terms of the impact of your nutrition on your immunity. And we are talking about toxification and detoxification, but we are still in the same line. So let's not ask questions that are just general medical knowledge. Why do we have, I hear new research has discovered that there's an artery that they didn't know about 5 years ago. Is God still creating new things in the human body? Guys, okay? This is also not a platform for debate. As Doctor said last week, you can find research to support anything that you want to support it with. So this is also not quite the space to go, well, there's this page I found, there's this YouTube channel I found that says I can eat ice cream for breakfast and there's no problem. Doctor talk about that. Let's not really do that, okay? Let's stay in line with the topics we've been discussing. So this applies to, I've been reading about this particular diet. It's meant for weight loss, and it's a bit different from what you're saying. Well, we're not talking about food for weight loss here. We're talking about it for immunity. So all I'm saying is let us stay in context. Please keep your questions concise. Make it short and clear. If I come to you and ask you your question and you have to show me like a whole page in your notebook, maybe you haven't really thought about your question very well. So keep it short, clear. Don't have too many, the first part, the second part, and then also in case, let's have something simple and clear. And finally, please avoid a question that is really just unique to you and might not benefit the general audience in this place. You can reserve such questions for that one-on-one consultation. Like, doctor, I noticed that if I drink more than 2 liters of water in a day around 4 p.m., I get a little bit dizzy, and then at like 5, I'm very full. That's really for you to find doctor and talk to doctor on your own. Sawa? I'm using ridiculous examples, but I hope it drives the point home. So if you're clear, are you guys happy? Are you guys excited for this session? Awesome. Then can I just welcome back Dr. Nema and Dr. Judy. Today, the two of them will be together addressing your questions as we close this session. Let's give them a big hand as they come back. Karibuni. I believe we will actually take your question first, man of God. In case you still have a question, please just raise up your hand and we'll come and help you address it.
I just had a quick question because we've been talking about toxins, detoxification, and these are terminologies that we've heard, probably not here for the first time, but they've been spoken over and over through the presentation. So just briefly in a layman's language, if you could help us understand what really are toxins. That's the first question. The second question is if you can help us to understand how toxins have a negative side effect to our immunity without getting into the scientific jargon, but something that we will live here knowing that when we're detoxification process we're doing, we also have an understanding of what we're doing. I hope I'm clear.
Thank you. So in simple terms, I can say a toxin is anything that the body discerns as a foreign invader. So anything that can impair the normal processes of the body, or anything that can cause the body to deviate or slow down from the normal process that ensures the body functions properly. So as I said, the toxins can be an internal toxins. So internal toxins means now for your body to live, for you to live, there are processes, there are chemical processes that the body has to run. For example, digesting your food is a chemical process. Breathing is a process that the body undergoes to ensure that your life is sustained. So just sustaining life itself produces byproducts, or now we term them as toxins. So they're like byproducts of this process, chemical processes of the body, which when they accumulate, they can bring the bad effects to the body. I don't know if that puts a picture of what a toxin is. So those are internal toxins, but also from the environment, we have these chemicals or substances that now to the body they can bring harm or injury, either to the cells or the organs or the system at large of the body, or it can cause the body to deviate from the normal processes. So anything that brings that change is viewed as a toxin or a foreign body or an invader. I don't know, is that making it clear? Or Dr. Judy can add on that.
Na vitu ambavyo tunakula. During that whole process of digestion, kuna kemikali nyingi sana ambazo zinazalishwa mwilini kusaidia chakula kimeng'enywe, that is kiwe digested in the body. So it could be a result of zile chemicals ambazo zinazalishwa au a byproduct baada ya kile chakula sasa kimemeng'enywa, vile virutubisho vinabaki mwilini, and then kile ambacho kihitajiki kinatakiwa kitolewe mwilini kwa sababu ni sumu mwilini. Kwa hiyo kama hakitolewi kina accumulate, so in the whole process unapata zile side effects ya sumu mwilini kwako. Kwa wale ambao watakuwa hawajaelewa, sijui kama that one makes it better.
Okay, so how the toxins affect the immune system. So you remember we spoke of the immune system and mentioned that the immune system has the process called inflammation. You remember? But we say this inflammation has to take place in a controlled manner. So it's not supposed to be overreactive or underreactive immune system. So when that inflammation is in excess, then the immune system is compromised, right? So what toxins does to the immune system is that it enhances that inflammation process. So it's like inflammation, you can view it as maybe a little fire that is needed to deal with invasion, right? Just a certain amount of fire. Maybe let's say 1 kilo of fire that is needed. That's the normal inflammation that's needed. Let's say the 1 kilo of fire. But now when you have toxins in the body, these toxins enhance inflammation, the inflammatory processes to increase. So now instead of having 1 kilo of fire, you get maybe 5 kilo of fire. And if you don't have now enough anti-inflammatory process taking place to cater for this fire, or enough water, as I said, from the nutrients. In summary, the toxins enhance inflammation and cause the whole aspect of inflammation to go out of hand. So this is also a route for diseases to take place, because with this excess inflammation, cell injury takes place and cell replacement or cell repair is compromised. So this is where we get now chronic diseases coming in. So it compromises our immunity. I hope I've answered.
Good afternoon. My name is Prince Warren. I would like to ask, are there side effects with dry fasting, fasting without water?
I'd say first, dry fasting for what duration? Because, as I said, water fasting itself, in the maximum of 3 days, the body starts experiencing changes like electrolyte imbalance. So if you do not have enough stores of electrolytes, maybe such as potassium, which is needed for your heart to function properly, and you go through this water fast, then what happens is that now organs like the heart, they start being compromised. So it puts you at risk. So doing a dry fast would even be a more accelerator, because now water, as we said, is 60% of our body. So body processes are relying on water. So it means you are taking through the body through a dehydration period. So I don't know if it can be extended. I've not come along any studies where I've seen someone doing a dry fast, but I don't think it can be extended for even 48 hours without having side effects to the body. So the body cannot be in a dehydrated state.
Thank you. My name is Moise. Doctor, I've got 2 questions. So the first question is, on the plant-based diet, based on my own analysis, to make it practical and realistic for, as a lifestyle, you talked about also, eating also carbohydrates. Now, what's the right balance? Because the challenge is, if, and you are doing maybe sometimes high intense workout, realistic, just a plant-based diet would work. And at the same time, if you go now into the carbohydrates, excess of carbohydrates, the ones that we eat, the rice and all this stuff, you go back now to the same thing of, overweight. And so, how do you strike that, balance? And I'm saying this because, with the low carb diet, somehow, you lose, the weight because you eat very low, but you eat the proteins. But if you're not moving from, the meat and stuff, then you're doing just the plant-based. So my question is really on the carbohydrates, how do we, balance this? And then the second question, you talked about tea, as in the morning. What's the medical advice on coffee? Yeah, black coffee is fine.
Okay. I think last time when Dr. Neema presented the power plate, she explained it very well. To have a balanced diet, if I should term it that way, you need to have all the food, all the basic food groups, the carbohydrates, the protein, the vegetables and fruits, and fat. But for the power plate, it has the vegetables, the fruits and veggies, the legumes. So we said when you take a lot of proteins, when you take a protein-based diet, which is what is being advertised nowadays, I think most of the diets that people are advertising, they're purely protein-based diets or the keto diets, the side effects to your body are too much to the, especially the liver and the kidney. That's why we don't advise you to take the protein-based diet. So with the plant-based diet, you have to balance. A quarter of your plate should contain the carbohydrates. Then a quarter of your plate again should have the legumes. A quarter fruits, a quarter vegetables. I don't know if that answers what you're...
Maybe if I can add, because you mentioned on exercise. So now actually most athletes are converting to become plant-based because they've noticed the many benefits that comes with being an athlete and taking in a plant-based diet. So what they do, so exercise itself, it needs energy, right? And energy-giving foods are carbohydrates. So for an athlete, you have to calculate how many calories as per the intensity of the exercise that you are taking, right? So the number of calories usually ranges from 2,000, 2,500 for most exercises, but it may be more if it's maybe a higher endurance kind of exercises. So the calories needed is what guides you to the type of carbohydrates that you take, because now you're making sure whatever carbohydrates that you take, you're using it as the fuel for the exercises that you take. And as you saw last time, there are a variety of sources of plant-based foods with carbohydrates. So in their variety, you can use this as your source of carbohydrates for the exercises. But what has been discovered now is that a plant-based diet is actually what enhances what we call performance or an endurance for athletes without compromising their health. I think you have heard of athletes just falling and having a heart attack. It came to our knowledge or from the researchers that actually the many high-protein sources of meats and dairies that now these athletes would take, they enhance the body to be in this inflammatory state, a chronic inflammation state that now clogs up their blood vessels and compromises their heart health. But also a lot of fats that the athletes would take thinking that they need a lot of energy also enhances this ill health of the heart. But apart from that, apart from the evidence on the overall health, now the most benefit that is being seen is the whole aspect of endurance or better performance. And the athletes would report actually they need less time to recover from that intensive exercise compared to their counterparts who engage in animal-based diets. So it's a matter of just knowing the calories and as per your level of exercise and engaging accordingly. And with regard to weight gain, I think I covered in my last presentation misconceptions on carbohydrates, that most people think that carbohydrates are actually the source of weight gain, but it's actually been seen that animal protein, it's what enhances weight gain and not even the carbohydrates themselves.
Yeah, the last one.
Oh, the coffee aspect. So coffee is from plants, right? It's a seed from a plant. So so coffee on its own, it's good, but in moderation. So there's a lot of research on aspects of coffee and the influence in health, and these actually, I can say they're inconclusive. Some will say coffee has bad effects on the body. Others would say, no, actually it has good effects, because it has also been seen that coffee has antioxidants. So antioxidants are needed for the anti-inflammatory process. So like to quench the fire from toxins or the body processes that cause inflammation. So that's coffee in moderation, or when taken appropriately without all these excess sugars or creams and milks. So how we package the coffee, it's what makes it unhealthy. And also when it's taken in excess, it has been seen to cause side effects like high blood pressure and affecting the heart as a consequence. So it's an inconclusive thing, and most of the studies, they say actually should be more of an individual assessment. So for some individuals, taking in coffee, it causes anxieties or insomnia or even dependency, that now the people need to go through a withdrawal period to stay without coffee. So for some people it can be of benefit, but to others not of benefit. So it's inconclusive and it has to be individualized. But one thing that is for sure is that how we package the coffee is also something that makes it unhealthy. The creams, the lot of sugars, those are the things that we need to be more cautious about.
Thank you, Doctor, for your presentation. My name is Liamba. My question is with regards to detoxification, particularly. You talked about water. So what kind of water are we talking about? Because we have tap water. Do we boil the tap water? And you know how we live, we use a lot of bottled water. And when you go through the bottled water, when you look at they differ. The pH, all those things, they differ, and the minerals in it. So can you help us to clarify so that we understand what kind of water are we talking about?
Okay, so going through various studies, the conclusion is that with water, the main thing to look at is that it shouldn't have so much contamination in terms of maybe dirt or heavy metals. So in most countries, the water that comes to our taps already goes through a certain purification process, and that already is viewed as a certain level of safety is attained in that water. There are some certain countries that it's actually even safe to drink tap water, but in others, the purification is not so much that it can be safe for drinking. But either way, no matter the state of water at that level of purification that has been done, maybe at the government level, water is not seen as to be so much toxic to say it can cause so much detrimental effect if it has gone through that purification process. So to the level that we are accessing the purified water, the tap water, it's actually a safe place. And again, we say that we cannot have a so sterile environment. So either way, we'll still have toxins coming into our body in a certain way. So it can actually be even this water. So with regard to the packaged water, the pH and everything, most researchers would put it like this is just actually a fancy way of marketing. Water is just water. What we need people to do is to drink water. The body will deal with the little contamination that has been added into the water. And with regard to the nutrients, some marketing shows that maybe this water is a certain kind of added nutrients. Most research will tell you that these added nutrients are not sufficient in quantity or in quality for you to say you are benefiting from those nutrients from water. So still, food plays a major role in providing nutrients and not water. So conclusion with water, it just has to be clean enough to be consumed. After all, we are not in a sterile environment. The main thing, empower the body to be able to deal with toxins in whatever form that comes in. So if it's a little of toxins from the water, the body will deal with it.
Thank you so much, Pastor. I have a question regarding the protruding stomach, popularly known as kitambi.
Sorry?
Kitambi. in Swahili. From detoxification, is there any advice in terms of what kind of food you have to consume if you have to deal with it diligently?
So the kitambi that you are speaking of, it's one of the preferential places that excess fats are being deposited. So we call it central obesity around our trunk. So the remedy to that, I think I've been speaking about it from last Sunday. We saw that the animal sources actually enhance weight gain because there's a lot of fats, right? So that's what leads to obesity, including central obesity. And from today's presentation, we saw that when we have excess toxins, one way the body now stores these toxins so that they do not harm our body, it's in actually the fat cells. So when we engage in such a detoxification program and also exercise, those fat cells are being broken down and then they release the toxins and the body deals with the toxins, but also weight loss can be attained. That's why one of the benefits of detoxification is weight loss, because having excess toxins stored in fat cells makes it difficult for one to lose weight. So the plant-based way is very good in the whole aspect of detoxification and attaining weight loss. And it's actually been seen that from various researchers that when someone just consumes only whole grain, whole foods, plant-based sources, even without doing exercise, a significant amount of weight loss is being attained during that time period. So this is just to show you that food is actually a big player in the weight gain or obesity aspect.
And in addition to that, I think the presentation we had last Sunday, there was a slide that specifically talked about excess sugar that is being converted into fat. So one of the things to avoid is excess sugar. Because once you take anything that has excess sugar or that the body detects there's excess sugar in the body, you have the insulin release that will come and moderate the amount of sugar in your blood and eventually to convert that into fat. So to end up being stored in, yes.
So with the plant-based diet, you are sure that the sugar that you take is from fruits and natural sugar, which does not cause the increase in weight.
I think this might be the last question that we have. So if there's anyone with a burning question, please make sure you lift up your hand before we close this session.
Hello, doctor. My name is Victor. So from the previous, teachings on this one thing I noted is that sleep is something good. Now, I have a question. So I understand that sleep comes into two forms, right? So quality and quantity. It's not just how long you sleep, but also how well you sleep. And one thing that I wanted to know, are there foods that support a good quality of sleep? So that was one. Second is that some days of the week vitu vinakuwa vingi, and truly you can't afford to sleep 7 hours. Now, I just wanted to know, because the day has 24 hours, is 8 hours worth sleeping throughout, or can you break it down as in 4 hours now and 4 hours later?
I think if I'm to start with the second question about sleep, you cannot break it. It has to be 8 hours of good quality sleep or uninterrupted sleep. Because some people sleep, but their heads are still racing. Umelala unawaza, gari langu leo liko safarini, sijui litapata ajali, sijui mzigo utafika. So It has to be uninterrupted sleep. That's the only way you will benefit from it. Yes.
So, uninterrupted also because actually sleep is in phases. So, scientifically, it's not just sleep. You go through stages. So, until you reach that level of, or that stage of sleep where we can say actually your body is at rest and now it's able to start recharging and reorganizing itself, it's progressive. So as she says, if it's still at just that level whereby stress is influencing your sleep, then it's not of benefit into detoxification or immune system at large. With regard to foods that can enhance good sleep, I showed the digestion speed. I think most of us have noticed when you eat heavy meals, especially at night, how you wake up just tired as if you have not slept, right? So this is because of how, especially in the evening, to take the foods that will be of short transit time, of which we saw that it's in the greens. So this will be the foods that in 30 minutes or 1 hour they're digested, and by the time you are sleeping, actually your body is in that state of rest.
And also you should avoid sleeping soon after a meal. You have to at least eat 4 hours before going to bed. Yes.
And when you eat pork, that means even the 4 hours are not sufficient, because we saw foods like pork in a good gut, it takes up to 5 hours, right? So it means just exiting the stomach is 5 hours. So for that to be at least fully digested, maybe 10 hours, of which you wouldn't even have at night. So food plays a big part in our quality of sleep.
Good afternoon. I have a question on the slide you just showed us just now. I think you mentioned it's your favorite slide. And my question is, you explained to us that it for the foods like vegetables and fruits, they take very short time to be digested. And the proteins and stuff, they take a long time. Can we take that as an advice now to take, for example, proteins in the afternoon? Because, we're not going to feel hungry. And then take the vegetables in the night. We go to sleep early. I was thinking something like that.
I believe in the afternoon is the time that we all need to be very active, because that's when we are working. So if you're taking food that will take 4 to 5 hours to be digested, and when digestion is taking place, there's that feeling you have. You feel sleepy because all the blood has gone to provide to aid the digestion process in the digestive system. So you will not be active during the day. Utakuwa unasikia tu unataka kusinzia, unataka kulala. So that is one way of answering your question. Maybe if Dr. Nema wants to add on that.
So for me, I'll just say it's a matter of balance. So even in the afternoon, because what we're advocating is the power plate. So even in the afternoon, it has to be in the form of power plate. So the good thing about plant-based sources, even in that chart, it shows maybe maximum 3 hours. So if your dinner is at 6 p.m., by 9 p.m., even if it's proteins or carbohydrates, they're already digested. But also, let's not take it as a fixed thing. It's not like the body. It's not like the body is like a robot. There's a way that the body adjusts to be able to support you. So even when there are errors and there's foods in the system that are taking so long to be digested, still the body will regulate itself to still be able to run its systems and function efficiently. And I believe that's why even most of us are still here today, because we are eating the wrong foods most of the times, but still our body regulates itself and ensures that we still function properly. So when it's in its very much extreme and the body is so much overwhelmed, then that's when we start seeing the side effects.
Good afternoon. So first of all, I want to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to doctors throughout this session. Thank you so much. It has been helpful and eye-opening session. So, in line of presentation that we've been having, I have two questions. First of all, in water fasting, should it be plain water, or I can add some herbs or spices to it? That's number one. And the second question, is there the best way of weight gaining for those who are struggling about that? Is there the best way of weight gaining?
So with water fasting, it's strictly water and plain water. And if rainwater could be acquired actually in its most clean form, then rainwater would be the best. Other people who run water fasts in maybe clinics or medical supervision, some of them use distilled water, which is a more sterile kind of water. But any kind of water, especially for people who are not doing it under medical supervision, is still okay. As I said, what's in the water, it's quite insignificant. As long as it's at the level of being clean water, then that's enough. But with the water fasting, no spices, no herbs, those only come in the food kind of detoxification protocol. But in the water fasting, it's strictly plainly water. And that's why it's advised that you shouldn't extend it beyond 3 days or 72 hours without medical supervision, because we are not sure of your reserves of electrolytes, or in Swahili we say virutubisho. So these ones are really needed for the body processes, especially the heart. So when there's a deviation in the level of which it can happen very fast, and a slight deviation itself can cause critical changes and side effects to the body. And that's why we advise for the medical supervision. But when it's done properly in the medical supervision, then water fasting is actually the best, because it's the one which will deal with now these wastes that have been there for so long. Now your body will be properly resting. You're not consuming anything. So the digestive system will really clear out of the long-term wastes, the long-term toxins that have not been dealt with. Then through a water fast, then the body just properly cleans itself. The second question, sorry.
The second question was about weight gaining. What is the best way?
Okay, so this is why it's important to do a consultation when you go through these programs, because now there are calculations of calories as per the individual needs. So if your target is weight gain, that means you will need more calories than the body needs in order for now your body, to allow your body to store these extra calories to turn into fat, right? So if the goal is weight gain, there has to be a shift of the diet so as to allow extra calories and the transition of weight gain. So it's going to be an individualized thing because the calculations involves your kilos, and then you choose variety kind of foods that have high contents of carbohydrates and fats that you'll have to take. And then in this program, then with that excess intake of these calories, then it means the weight gain is enhanced. So it becomes an individualized thing, but it is possible. But with the plant-based diet, most findings point to that the body eventually it just regulates itself to the perfect weight that it can accommodate. So some people may think they're thin, but actually that's what their body can accommodate. So it's not necessary you have to have a certain kind of figure or appearance, but when you nourish your body, it regulates itself to the perfect weight.
I think there's a question right up at front. I think this will be the last question that we're going to take as we carry on. Sorry, where was that question? If we can just see the hand.
So on the plant-based diet, it tends to aid weight loss. So for some of us who are on the lower side of the scale, what can we do to maintain the weight and transition into the plant-based diet?
Okay, the plant-based diet is not necessarily for loss of weight. It's for a better life or better nutrition to the body. And as just Dr. Neema mentioned, what aids in either maintaining your body or gaining weight is the amount of calories. You can have two people, you're eating the same amount of food, but the kind of activities that you do is different. So the one who has more activities and yet eating the same calories as you will not gain, the weight gain will not be the same as the person who is eating the same amount of calories but having less activities. So also the amount of calories that you're consuming matters, and the level of activities that you're doing also matters. So the plant-based diet is not a weight loss diet. I think that's where you need to understand first. It's not a loss weight diet. It's just to get away from the foods that have more toxins to foods that have less toxins or that are less harmful to our bodies. Yes.
On the aspect of transition, I had mentioned in the previous lecture that there are two ways. We can start with now increasing the amounts of the plant-based sources of nutrients while still taking in the other sources of nutrients. Because your body is used to this other kind of foods, and it will be like a shock to the body, of which can manifest with unpleasant side effects if you just transition so suddenly to a whole new diet. To some people, their body can handle it. They can transition just on the day go. But some people, their body needs a progressive change or progressive transition. So the best way would be to continually targeting an increase of these plant-based sources of nutrients until now your body gets accustomed to these sources. But another way that I had given out is to have specific periods whereby now you dedicate yourself to just taking these healthy sources of nutrients, the plant-based sources. And in this period, that's when your body now gets to be nourished, to be empowered to work so efficiently. So those are two possible ways. But as we have announced, it's before any transition, please seek medical advice, because no two bodies are the same. No matter what literature says, and we follow that literature, but you can still find other individuals with specific or unique characters that may force you to adjust that diet or to change some things to make it more customized to that individual. But on that same note, because now this is our way forward, please let's be kind to one another. When you find someone celebrating their birthday and they've ordered something, please don't make negative comments. We are all changing at different paces, and we all have different targets. But this is not to say now we just venture on the unhealthy part, saying probably people will think I'm still transitioning. No, but this is a process. Every one of us goes through a process differently. So the main thing is our attitude towards the change, and to be determined to make a difference for us and also for the next generation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think we can do much better than that. I think we can do much better than that. This couple of Sundays has been different, but has been relevant. Especially in the times that we're living in, this is information that is not shared. You don't easily find it. All you get is the opposite of what can really be able to help you live a healthy life. So I hope we're going to take this seriously, and maybe in the future might have another session. But how many of you appreciate the information that you've been receiving? I would encourage you to also do your own study at your own time. There are certain things that probably, I remember Pastor was saying something that you need to seek medical advice before making a decision to partake into some of these programs. But it's also wise for you to seek medical advice to people who are pro this kind of lifestyle. Because there's also the big pharma behind some of the medical advice. I don't know if you understand what I mean. Not every medical doctor will be pro detoxification through a water fast. People have been fasting for more than 3 days, 4 days. Of course, that's what I can say. The doctor cannot say that. But when you do your own research, you begin to understand that there's a big conflict between what is healthy and beneficial for human beings, plus what can make a profit to pharmacies. Hello, am I talking to someone here? So even as much as you're doing your research, you don't just side to what, sometimes we can have our own belief, and then you're looking for something to support your own belief. No, don't do that. Be neutral and also do a better research. Why is someone advocating for this? There are certain medicines, I may not be qualified, but I'm qualified to say this, that the certain medicines don't actually make you better. They make you worse. but they're not going to say that because there's benefit. So even as you do your research, please be open-minded and don't just believe a particular source simply because it's a big brand. I don't know if I'm talking to someone here. Are you glad that you came? Are you happy that you came? So next Sunday, I'm looking forward to it. Let's see what the Lord is going to do. We've done the... for us next Sunday. So make sure that you don't miss out. Amen. Please rise up to your feet. Doorkeepers, if you can come. Oh my. Thank you, Jesus. Is it okay if we just close on this song? I'm waiting for you guys. It's a bit high for me. Maybe D. We give you all the glory. We worship you, our Lord. You are worthy to be decree and declare doors that you never thought would open for you are going to begin to open. In this month of divine opportunities, let the doors of heaven open wide for you and pour immeasurable favor upon you, upon your family, upon your household. Favor shall go ahead of you. Favor shall open doors for you. Favor will permit you to walk into offices they're not qualified for. Favor will allow you and permit you to speak to people that you never thought you were able to speak. You shall enter into offices that you only imagined about, never thought about. Opportunities shall come your way that you never thought were possible in our nation, in our time. This month, doors will begin to open for you in all sectors, in all areas of your life. May the Lord begin to open doors for more than 2, 3, 4, 5 streams of income. There shall be a grace that shall be released upon this month that is coming upon you to begin. You shall start that business. You shall embark on that project. Favor and grace is being showered from the heavens to enable you to begin. Some of you will not just start with one business. I'm seeing 2, 3 different sources of income beginning this month. I decree it, I declare it as I see it. So shall it be. Get ready for a financial favor that is going to start this month. People are going to come this month with testimonies, ridiculous testimonies of opportunity, of closed doors now being open, of places where you could no longer step into. Favor will begin to open door for you where you are not permitted to go. Your feet shall step where you are not accepted. Favor will allow you to be favored and be accepted beyond immeasurable doubt. May the Lord bless you and keep you and cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance and give you peace. For you will not only be a blessing to your family, but you shall be a blessing to your community. You shall be a blessing to your community. You shall be a blessing to your community. You shall be a blessing to this nation. In the name of Jesus, put your hands together for Jesus.